Motives, welcome to episode 24 of the Behind Your Motive podcast, where today we'll focus on how to be more patient with yourself. I believe that every one of us who is different, every one of us who is unique, every one of us who have a dream that is beyond ourselves deserve to pursue it. No matter what occurs in the world, no matter what the people around us tell us to do, we must back ourselves. We must feel confident in our own abilities because we deserve this. We deserve to live a life of fulfillment. We deserve to live a life of happiness, and it must all be on our terms. So I welcome you to the movement your future deserves. Welcome to the Behind Your Motive podcast. Motives, I want to ask you, why do you feel so impatient? Why do you want everything to happen now? Why can't you just wait for that next surprise or that next real big goal to be accomplished in your life? What is it? What is it that makes you so impatient? Now, I won't lie, we're all the same. And again, welcome to the Behind Your Motive podcast, guys. This is episode 24, and it's actually part 4 in the new series we have here on the Behind Your Motive podcast. And as you can imagine from the title and the introduction, this is an episode on patience and how you should have patience with all things, but first with yourself. It's the most important thing. Again, like the theme of this entire week in part 1 to 3 has been about mastering yourself, has been about conquering your mindset and getting control back in your life. It's very important, guys. And today I'll be speaking about how to have patience with yourself first, how to have patience in life, right? We live in a modern time, and it's very usual to have things instantly. That's what they call instant gratification. It's where we binge Netflix. We get our dopamine fix on Instagram. Guys, I'm the exact same as you. I'm not going to go and sit here on a big pedestal and say that I don't watch Netflix and I don't stay on Instagram to get that dopamine. Like, it's not a conscious thought, but it subconsciously happens, and we get into almost a paralysis of dopamine and instant gratification. We can't wait for the next episode. We can't wait for the next season to happen, right? That's what I'm doing with Lucifer. I want Lucifer's next season to come out already. But everything in moderation, guys. We have to be in control more. And that's very important, because in order to be in control, we need to instill a long-term mindset. This is all those things that I just listed there. That's short-term gains. That's not going to help us in the long term, right? Instagram is going to eventually go away, but it will be replaced with something else, which we will get the instant gratification from. But we have to think further down the line than that. We need to have a long-term mindset, and that's where patience comes into it. Because all great things it takes time, right? All great things take time. Like they say, Rome wasn't built in one day. Now look at it. Okay, so if you want to truly change your life, and this is the whole theme of this entire podcast, is to try and instill habits into you which will enable you to transition from your current life that you have now. You may or may not be fulfilled with where you are right now, and transition you into a life of your dreams, right? But that's just not going to happen with a click of your hand. It takes time, and it takes change in order to get there. We need to be able to build new habits and forget the old ones. We need to unlearn the things that have been taught to us in our existence to this day. right? It may sound overwhelming. It may sound like a very big task, but it's important because the things that we've learned up until today have got us to the point of where we are today. And if we're content with where we are, then so be it. That's totally fine, right? The game of discomfort, the game of change, the game of pursuing your passions with force, without anything getting in your way, really isn't for everyone. People aren't willing to get out of their job and not earn anything, but be a slave to their salary for 40 years, right? They don't understand that for the long term, that short term sacrifice is important for your long term gain. If you get out of your job now and you're not feeling content, you're not feeling fulfilled, you're not feeling happy with where you are right now, that means that something needs to change. That means that something in your life needs to go a different direction. You can't just stay comfortable with where you are. If you've been comfortable with where you are now, don't expect something to change in 5 years' time. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as building that long-term outlook to your life, right? If you want to have a business, if you want to become a chef, if you want to do this or that, it involves change because we've never experienced that before. So like I've mentioned in my earlier podcast episodes in this series, it's all about little changes which add up to be a big, surmountable impact on our life. All the way down to stepping out of your comfort zone, like I mentioned in episode 1, about stop forcing yourself to please everyone and focus on yourself a bit more. That way, we can focus on building new habits for ourselves and having that long-term outlook on life. And also in episode 3, where I spoke about being more resourceful instead of just always wanting it instantly, like we mentioned in this episode we don't want that. We want to become more resourceful. We want to have that long-term mindset. Okay? So this is how you change. This is how you build that patience within yourself, right? Number 1 is practicing gratitude. It's so simple, yet no one barely ever does it consistently, right? It's like anything. If the more you do it, the more you believe it, and the more you believe it, the more it compounds and grows bigger. So the more we focus on positivity, the more we focus on gratitude and being grateful for what we already have, the longer outlook we're going to have on our life. The less we will be concerned about what we need now, and more be concerned about how we can impact our life going forward. Okay, so practicing gratitude, literally having a positive affirmation routine in the morning, saying positive things to yourself such as, I deserve this, I believe in myself, I am confident. The more we say that, the more it compounds and it grows upon itself, the more we start to believe it. So the first thing I want you to do now, if you have a journal, if you have a notepad, if you have a quiet place in your room, just go there, be in Zen, be with one with your body, right? And your mind, and practice being grateful for what you already have. Man, you have a roof over your head. You have a phone to speak to people with. You have a house to live in. You have a car maybe. You have an education. Like, if you can't think of anything, it's as simple as that. We've been so blessed with the life we have already, and we can't let anything interrupt that. Secondly, I want you to be mindful of what's making you feel impatient. What is it that's making you feel like you want it now? Is it the people that you listen to as online? Is it the videos you watch of high net worth individuals where you need to have it now, right? Trust me, you'll never get to that point without first focusing on yourself and building those habits from scratch. Those people didn't get to where they are now with the current mindset, with the mindset they probably had when they started. It was an ongoing journey, and it was an ongoing process for them that they built upon every single day because they had that one focus of improving their lives and focusing on that one goal to get to the end of the tunnel, right? But actually no, I take that back, because you don't just focus on that one goal, you focus on the process. That's what makes it really achievable. That's what makes it not overwhelming for you, because if you focus on that one goal, if you focus on, say, $10 million a year, right? I want to make my first $10 million. If you focus on that, you'll be like, okay, I'm here, $10 million is over there. How the hell do I get over there? What do I start with? I do this and this and this and this. Oh crap, there's so much shit to do. I don't know where to start. So be mindful of what that is that's making you impatient. Isn't that large goal? I'm not saying get rid of your large goal. Always reach for the stars, but make sure you have a ladder to get there. Right? Be mindful that you need to have a step-by-step process, a plan. You need to think this over, right, in order to get there. You need to be surrounded with the right amount of people, with the right-minded people. You need to be always educating yourself. You need to be always improving yourself. Thirdly, make yourself wait. Like I mentioned before, instant gratification may feel like a good thing at the time, but it's really the opposite. Because instant gratification spreads across all areas of our life. You may be thinking, okay, no, but I just want to always binge Netflix. I don't have instant gratification or anything else. Think about what you buy. Think about the time that it takes for you to purchase. Are you an impulse buyer, or are you a thoughtful buyer? Me, for one, I've recently been an impulse buyer. So that's a habit that I need to change, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to think of the large spectrum that it can spread across as well, right? Instant gratification isn't just for Netflix. Instant gratification may mean that you have a short-term mindset and you're not looking forward enough. You may be thinking of, I'm on Monday, I just can't wait till this week finishes so I can just relax at home on the weekend. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that's not long-term enough. If you're thinking about the next weekend, you're not really thinking about 5-10 years down the line, let's be honest. Because we only can make a few choices per day. We only have and this is scientifically known, we only have a span in our minds per day to have a few choices, to make a few conscious efforts. That's why people like Mark Zuckerberg only wear one t-shirt, but have 20 different same t-shirts. Because he doesn't want to waste effort trying to choose what he has to wear that day. Just like when we focus on the weekend, we're subconsciously taking up our time focusing on the weekend instead of we should be focusing on more impactful things for our future. Where do we want to go in 10 years' time? Where do we want to go next month? Right? Where do we want to be next month? Not only years, months, guys. Just think of that to start with and then progressively grow on that. Fourthly, like this entire theme of this week's podcast, we have to embrace the uncomfortable. Too often we think we should be in a state of adjustment, and when we experience something outside of our comfort zone, we get impatient about the circumstances. This is from a quote on huffingtonpost.com.au. It's so true, because we always want to feel comfortable. It's just our natural being. It's just our natural way of living. Our brains always focus on the threat and trying to minimize that. We always wants to make us feel comfortable and safe. That's just normal human behavior. But sometimes we're stronger than that, and sometimes we need to get to the next level of discomfort in order to grow. And lastly, it's very simple, guys. Just do a little deep breathing. I'm not too sure where you are right now. If you're driving, probably don't do this. If you're sitting at home and you're watching it on your bed, give it a shot. Close your eyes and start to breathe in through your nose and out your mouth. Do this 3, 4, 5, however many times you need, but make sure that your eyes are closed and you're in a quiet room in the house. Go to your car, maybe. Close the doors by yourself and just breathe. Because that is so important. Sometimes we're that busy with life that we don't even have a chance to breathe, to think about it, to really embrace it, right? And I thank HuffingtonPost.com.au for these ideas. But it's so true, guys. Start to think about yourself a bit more and start to think about your future. Because the more impatient you are, I feel like the more short-term thinking you are going to embrace. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you need to sometimes think more future-orientated. Motives, thank you so much for listening to part 4 of this new series. Tomorrow, part 5 will be about why you must believe in yourself, the importance of having faith. Now, if you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you're listening to this. Subscribe, leave a comment, and leave a rating if you can. That would mean the world to us if you can just leave a rating and spend an extra few seconds leaving a comment. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.